Showtime! Spider sense is tingling. Hey!
This should be interesting.
Hi everyone, I'm True Soul, and this is my 2025 action figure recap video. So yeah guys, as you guys know, for the past couple years I've been doing some end of the year recaps where I pretty much do an overview of all the action figures that I collected throughout the year. And my Star Wars recap is already out because, as you guys know, Star Wars is my bread and butter, so I do collect primarily that. So this is a separate video of all the not Star Wars action figures that I collected this year. And I got a pretty decent bit. I feel like this is actually less than what I normally get throughout the year, because I usually buy like 4 to 5 figures at a time. But these are all the ones that I've gotten throughout the year. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go one by one, each figure. We're going to go ahead and start all the way over here with my G.I. Joe Classified collection retro card Cobra Commander. I've been waiting for this one to come out for a while now. I've been working on my TV show / movie shelf, and I do want some G.I. Joe representation on there, hence why I got Cobra Commander. I was planning on getting a couple more of the like Cobra characters. I don't want to get too many because there's plenty of other characters that I want to have on that shelf. I do want to get the new Scooby-Doo figures that they're making, so I want to make sure I have enough room on there for the Mystery Gang. So probably not going to be getting too many more Cobra characters. I do have a couple of Cobra Troopers. I put them in my container. I'm going to have to dig them out later. But let's go ahead and keep going. Back here I got the Sentinel from Marvel Legends. Now this is the Sentinel from, if any of you played the old X-Men, there was this old X-Men beat 'em up game. I think it was made by Konami back in the day. This is what this Sentinel is based off of. He came in a 2-pack, so it came with like 2 Sentinels and like a big piece of debris you could throw. But I just got this one just to show you guys. I kind of like it. They recently came out with a different color variant, but I'm not really interested in that. I'm pretty much happy with this one. I'm just glad that I have a Sentinel for my Marvel shelf, because to be honest, I do not have the room for like those bigger Sentinels that they've made, so it's just nice to have a Sentinel for the shelf. And we're gonna keep moving on here. I got Guile and Cammy, both from the Jada Toys Street Fighter line. Jada Toys really been knocking it out of the park with these figures, and I heard that they're supposed to be starting their Street Fighter Alpha series. When it comes to the Street Fighter figures, I mostly have all the ones that I want, and I'm not going to be trying to get every single one because that would take up a lot of room on my video game display shelf, and they already take up a good bit of space now. There's still a couple more that I would like to get. I'll probably get their version of Akuma. I know I have the SH Figuarts one, but I mostly use the SH Figuarts one for like stop motion, so I might have one for my display and then have one that I use stop motions for. And before I start rambling about that, let's keep on going. In the back here, we got Spider-Man 2099, my bad. Now this one is from the Spider-Verse movie. I kind of like this one. He's of course he's a Marvel Legends, but he's made in the proportions of how they appeared in that show. They've made Spider-Man 2099 action figures in the past, but I didn't really like those ones because even though they were supposed to be the comic book version, they were like really like skinny and lanky, and you know, I like the overall body proportions of this one, even though his legs sometimes make it hard for him to be in certain poses because they're so skinny. But overall, I think it's a pretty cool figure. And moving on, we got some anime. We got Tsunade over here and Pain, probably one of my favorite anime villains. And hiding behind them, I have the Prowler. This is the comic book version, not the one from Spider-Verse, but maybe a lesser known Spider-Man character, probably more known now because of like the Spider-Verse movie and whatnot. This is one of the first figures that I actually got this year, one of the first Marvel figures. My Spider-Man display shelf is pretty much filled out for the most part. I do want to get a new Spider-Man figure, primarily for stop motion purposes, but we'll talk more about that later. Down here, I got Rue, who, for those of you that recognize him, is actually from Streets of Rage. For any of you who played that back in the day, in my opinion, one of the best beat 'em ups ever made on Sega Genesis. We got Hinata and Shikamaru over here. Really like this Shikamaru. I'm going to try to grab him without knocking over anybody else. But what I really like about this Shikamaru figure is the fact that they gave him pockets. And so what you do is you just pop the hand pieces off, and his pegs can stick down into a hole that is in the pockets, because I feel like that's a big part of Shikamaru's personality, is he sticks his hands in his pockets quite a lot. So the fact that they thought to let him do that, I thought was very clever. So I really like that a lot. Make sure he doesn't fall over. By Shikamaru here, I got the Punisher. This Punisher actually came in a 2-pack, a Marvel Legends 2-pack, with him and another character called Bushwhacker that I'm not very familiar with. In fact, Bushwhacker's all the way over here. Don't really know a whole lot about this character, but I thought he seemed pretty cool. But back to the Punisher. This is probably my new definitive Punisher for my shelf. I have kind of wanted to get the Netflix version. They came out with a new Punisher whenever they made that new Daredevil show, which I still haven't watched. I need to get around to watching that. Anyway, hiding back here, we got Agent Venom. So you can see him. I'll be honest, I primarily got this character because I think he looks cool. I do know a little bit about Agent Venom. I'm pretty sure he's actually supposed to be Flash Thompson. He got a symbiote somehow. But I think this is just a pretty cool figure. So that's primarily why I got him for my Spider-Man shelf. I actually have a couple of stop motion ideas that I would very much like to do with him, but we'll talk more about that later. Go ahead and put him back here. And I know you guys noticed I got Michelangelo, the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. This is the Super 7, at least the company that made him was Super 7. This is actually the 2003 animated series version, which they don't really make a whole lot of figures of that version of the Turtles, but that's the version that I grew up with. So at some point I would very much like to get the rest of the Turtles. They're like $50 a pop, and probably the longer I wait, the more expensive they'll get. So maybe the beginning of the year next year, I probably will prioritize go ahead and getting the rest of the Turtles. And behind Michelangelo, I got the Chameleon. Now this is the Chameleon based off Spider-Man the Animated Series, from like the 90s show. really like that show a lot, so I like to get the characters that are based off of that version of the show. And behind here we got a Predator. This I got this one from NECA. I think this one's called the Fugitive Predator. That's what it said on the box. I've actually never had a Predator action figure before, so I wanted to at least have one for my movie slash TV show shelf. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really used to handling NECA figures. They're very well made in that they don't feel like they're gonna come apart, but sometimes they can be a little difficult to move, like their joints are like really stiff. So sometimes I feel like I'm gonna move it around and he's going to break, but then like he doesn't, so that's very good. I got this one from Amazon, but you can find them at different retail stores and whatnot. Let's go ahead and put him back here. And moving right along, before I forget, because he's all the way down here, this is the Blockies Charmander. I don't really talk about Pokemon a whole lot because most of what I know about Pokemon is from the TV shows, mostly Indigo League. If it's not a Generation 1 Pokemon, I probably won't know who it is. I know a handful of them, but Charmander slash Charmeleon slash Charizard is like my favorite Pokemon, right up there with Meowth. So I figured I'd get some representation for him. It is kind of funny though, because I'm still not sure whether to have him on my TV show shelf or to have him on my video game shelf, because technically Charmander is a video game character, because, you know, Pokemon is a video game. I guess I could switch between, but I kind of like the articulation on these blocky figures, even though it is limited, but it's actually kind of impressive because you do get a good bit, and I do like the fact that his mouth can open and close. They have made some other Gen 1 Pokemon, like, you know, I think they made like Pikachu, Squirtle, and Eevee. I have been looking for a new Pikachu for my stop motions because the one that I had was severely limited in how much it can move, so I might end up getting the Blockies Pikachu, and then you will probably be seeing them in my stop motions moving forward. Now let's keep going before I keep rambling. Over here I got Spider-Gwen from the Spider-Verse movie. This is how she appeared in the Spider-Verse movie. Got Snoopy over here. I got this Snoopy from Big Bad Toy Store. I think he was like, I want to say he was like $10. Like, he's got his little dish bowl right there. Moving back up, I got Starlight from the Boys series. Probably one of the only super people in that show that is not a complete scumbag, which is one of the reasons why I got her. She was on sale on Big Bad Toy Store. I'm trying to remember how much she was. I want to say she was $50 on there. I don't really care about getting the other ones. And moving right along, I got Venom back here. Now, as you'll notice, Venom is blue instead of his usual black. Well, that's because this Venom is based off of the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 video game, which, in that one he was depicted as being more like bluish, and I have some fond memories of that game and watching other people play the game, because when I was a kid I didn't have access to Marvel vs. Capcom 2. We played Marvel vs. Capcom 1 on the arcade machines at the movie theater back in the day. And moving on, we got Shoto Todoroki, who is my favorite My Hero character. This Shoto Todoroki, I'm trying to remember what line he's from. He was made by the toy company Jazzwares. They recently made this anime line called Total Anime, which is pretty much the poor man's SH figure arts. So instead of buying these expensive imports, you can buy these cheaper but still decent anime figures. And they got a My Hero line. For those of you who have seen some of my other videos, I got a Izuku Midoriya that is from the same line. The articulation is pretty decent and they come with a good bit of accessories. They mostly make characters from more recent animes, so they don't really make like Naruto and Dragon Ball and One Piece and stuff like that. They're mostly like My Hero, and I think they started making like Chainsaw Man and stuff like that. But I think the line's pretty decent. So moving forward, I'll probably be getting my anime characters from that toy line. And behind Shoto, I got Ghost Rider. This Ghost Rider actually came with a motorcycle, which I'm not going to put the motorcycle up here right now because it's pretty big. I'm pretty sure I've shown pictures of it in some of my collection update videos in the past, so feel free to go look at any of those. And beside Ghost Rider, I got the Mattel WWE Elite Series Rhea Ripley. For those of you who watched my videos earlier, I did collect a decent bit of wrestling figures, but I ended up stopping primarily because Mattel has a very bad habit of not making the versions of wrestlers that I actually want. Like wrestlers that like have, maybe there's a certain gear that they wore that I was like, ooh, that's cool, but then they don't make a figure of it, so I just never buy them. But they finally made like a Rhea Ripley that I actually wanted to get, so I was like, okay, I'll get that one. But other than that, I don't really collect WWE anymore. If I were to get one more, I'd probably end up getting Roman Reigns. I used to have one, but I ended up getting rid of him to make some space for some other figures that I wanted, but I still have his accessories. But now I'm in the position where I have some more room, so I need to get a new Roman Reigns to go with all those Roman Reigns accessories that I didn't get rid of. That's another thing I kind of like about WWE is a lot of their accessories and stuff are pretty compatible with other wrestling figures that they made. So let's keep moving on. Now down here I got the G.I. Joe Classified Series Timber, who actually came in a 2-pack with Snake Eyes, who's over here somewhere. There he is. Snake Eyes, probably one of my favorite G.I. Joe characters. I feel like G.I. Joe has so many G.I. Joes, it's kind of hard to just pick one and say, oh, this one's my favorite one, but he's definitely one of my favorites. And over here I got the Astonishing Wolverine. Marvel Legends Astonishing Wolverine, one of my favorite costumes for Wolverine. Really like how this figure turned out, and this one's probably going to be my definitive Wolverine for the shelf. And then over here I got Axel, he's from the same line that the Kangaroo's from. I think the toy company Jakks Pacific. I don't know if they they still haven't officially named what this line is. A lot of people are just calling it Sega All-Stars. So for the longest time, Jakks Pacific has been making Nintendo action figures. Mario, Donkey Kong, Link, Metroid. But they finally decided to start making Sega stuff. Not just Sonic. They've been making Sonic for years, but they decided to start making stuff from Sega games that isn't Sonic. So like Streets of Rage, Altered Beast. They're recently released a figure from Shinobi, the Shinobi games. So I'm really looking forward to that. And back here, I know some of you might have noticed, we got a firefighter. I'm going to grab him so you guys can have a better look at him. This is actually a G.I. Joe Classified series figure. One thing that I really like that Hasbro's been doing lately with their G.I. Joe figures is they've just been making some... They're not signature characters. Sometimes they're just like people. Like, for example, they made a firefighter like you see here. They also made like police officers. They've made like some like scuba divers and stuff like that, which I think that's like really cool, and I feel like that would be like really good for like certain stop motions to have like background characters and civilians and whatnot. Like that. I've been saying for the longest time, I just think it would be really cool if someone made like a civilian toy line. I know that sounds silly, but for someone that, you know, likes doing stop motions, I like having background characters. And the more regular looking they are, the better. So I'm going to put him back. And then of course, last but not least, I got Snake Eyes. And this is like the Commando Snake Eyes. I know Snake Eyes is primarily depicted as like a ninja. I think in the toy line, I don't think he was actually supposed to originally be a ninja, hence why he looks like this. But I do kind of like the ninja version of Snake Eyes. I used to have a ninja action figure, but of Snake Eyes, I ended up getting rid of him, and now I got this one, so I'm really happy with this Snake Eyes. You probably gonna end up being my definitive Snake Eyes unless I can find. I think they made a retro card Snake Eyes where it's kind of, he kind of has a fit like this, but it's more like a purplish, dark. How he looked in like season 1 of G.I. Joe from like the original show. For those of you who remember that. But anyway, I think that's gonna do it. I think that, yeah, that's all the figures that I have collected of this year that are not Star Wars. If you want to see all the Star Wars figures I collected, I have a separate video that should be already be up on my channel, so you guys are more than welcome to look at that. But like in that other video, I want to pick my top 5 figures for this year, and it was kind of hard. I was thinking before I started recording like what my top 5 would be. I definitely have to say Michelangelo, primarily because I didn't think they would ever make any more figures of the 2003 version of the Turtles, and they finally did. So I would definitely put Michelangelo up there. Definitely Shikamaru, especially because of what I was talking about earlier, just the fact that he can, you can have him be posed with his hands in his pockets. I just think that's like the coolest thing. So definitely would put him in top 5. Let me see. Snake Eyes, I definitely put Snake Eyes. Primarily just because this is a version of Snake Eyes that I've been wanting for a very long time. In terms of like G.I. Joe, so I definitely put him up there. Trying to think who would take the last 2 spots. Definitely Shoto. I really liked posing this figure and just having him on the shelf. So definitely would put Shoto up there. And last but not least, you guys are getting a live top 5. Well, it's not live because this is a recording that you're watching. This is kind of difficult. Definitely this Blue Venom. I haven't gotten to use him in any stop motions yet, but I'm very much looking forward to that. Uh-oh, Starlight went down. So yeah, these would probably be my top 5 figures of the year. I used to do like a top 10 on like my TikTok, which I don't really post on anymore. I need to go back and post some stuff on there. But anyway, before I start rambling, and while I'm picking up Starlight because she fell over, comment down below if you have any of these figures and which ones are your favorite. And I guess I should also take this time, I've kind of addressed it in some of my other videos, but I am gonna be slowing down the collecting part of the channel, and I'm primarily doing this primarily to save money, and also I want to start focusing more on why I originally made the channel, and that is to do stop motions, not so much just record myself getting toys and then talking about them, which I know a lot of people like. And I know actually videos that I make like this tend to get more views than my stop motions, but I do hope that you guys will stick around because I got a lot of very fun ideas, and I am still going to be doing some collection videos from time to time. I'm just not going to be collecting as much. So since I'm not collecting as much, there's not going to be as much videos. But alright guys, this is probably going to be my last video of the year. And starting up in the next year, I got a lot of stop motions planned, like I said. I'm also planning on starting up making some customs, and I'm going to be kind of recording my custom journey so you guys can go along with me on that. But until then, please be sure to like, subscribe, and go to my channel to check out other videos. Catch you later.